Mic check 1 2. It's the Y2K collector here with a early morning thought. As I mentioned on my video yesterday, I'm gonna be coming out with a new video game collection challenge, which is gonna involve me selling a bunch of games, or really flipping games, to be able to fund this collection challenge, and I'm really excited about it. When I woke up this morning, I actually, on my YouTube recommendations, they actually recommended a video to me from a YouTube creator named, I think his name is Key. I actually subscribed to him because I think his content is pretty cool. And I think he's pretty transparent, which is also, refreshing to see. And he kind of got a little bit transparent about his business. So he is a flipper. He does video game flipping. I'm assuming he does it for a living. I don't know if it's for his full-time job or what he does outside of it. But I think it might be his full-time job, because he talked about, business credit and having, having some charges and having to deal with, the expenses of running a flipping business. And, it kind of had me thinking about the differences between being a casual collector, versus someone who's a hardcore, diehard collector, versus someone who's just a flipper of video games, and that's what they do full time. That's their full-time job. That's their full-time business model. That's how they make their money. That's how they feed their family. A game is missing. Where is this game at? I'll have to find that. And so it had me really thinking, about the differences. And I think that there are differences in the mindset that you have to have when you are considering being a flipper or a video game seller. And I kind of just wanted to talk about that real quick. So just starting with the casual gamer. I think if you're just a casual gamer, you're just a casual collector, you probably know enough about the games that you want to have in your collection, or you probably know enough about the games that you like to collect, hopefully in an educated manner, to where you're not overpaying for games, or you're not going to the wrong places to source your games, or you're not just relying solely on eBay. So casual collectors aren't really folks who have any necessary goals in terms of building their collection. They just like retro games, or they like video games, and they, whenever they get an opportunity to buy them, whether it be online or at a store, they're just gonna buy them, right? And add to their collection. And as their collection grows, they may either keep the games that they have, or they might sell them once they're done with them. But I don't think a casual collector necessarily needs to know all of the history of a certain system or console, when it was created, and the entire library. They just know what they like, they collect what they like, and they move on. And then I think you kind of have that hardcore collector, right? That's the person that's trying to build a large library of games, a person who is who has a lot of knowledge on different video games, who understands who the developers are, who the creators were, who maybe the software team, the engineering team, the dev teams. They have all of the frequently asked questions. They have all those answers to the frequently asked questions of certain games. And I think those folks are a little more diehard. They usually have a goal that they're trying to aim for. They have a collecting goal. They might be looking to complete a set, whether it be for a console, or a handheld system. And I think those folks are usually a little bit more diehard when it comes to things like completeness. When it comes to, when I say completeness, I mean, they may want to have all of their games complete in box with a manual. They may have certain condition requirements. They're diehard, and who those folks are. You probably see them on YouTube, and I think you can tell the difference. I would like to think that I'm somewhere in between there. I don't think that I am a diehard collector in the sense that I need to have every game for a particular system. I don't think I'm a diehard collector in the sense that I have all of the information and all of the knowledge about, every system and every console. but I do think I know enough about the stuff that I'm into. And I do think that I've done a good amount of research when it comes to video games to understand what's a good deal, what's a bad deal, which systems are more prone to breaking on me, which systems I should stay away from. And I think, for me, I'm somewhere in between because I have a limit. Like, I have a limit in terms of how many physical games I want to have in my collection. Like, I've always told myself I don't want to have more than 1,000 games. Right now, I'm under 800 games. My goal was to really keep it under 500. But I think for me, anything over 1,000 is a lot. That's like too much for me personally. It doesn't mean that if you have a collection of 3,000 games or 5,000 games, it's a bad thing. No, that's great because you're probably more diehard. You probably have the space, the time, the energy to put into that, because building a collection of over 1,000 games takes time and energy. I know, because at one point I did have over 1,000 games, and when it was all said and done, I was like, wait, this is not for me. I never really wanted to have a room that is wall-to-wall games, floor-to-ceiling games. Like, that's never what I set out to do. But I definitely have a wish list and a specific list of games that I do want that range across a number of systems. And so for me, capping myself at 1,000 games has been good, because it's forced me in some cases to really hunker down and narrow down on the stuff that I really want. Now, there was a period where I thought about doing flipping, right? Becoming a flipper and doing it part-time, because I thought that there was, money in it. And it's not to say that there isn't money in it. There's definitely money in flipping. You can make money. But I quickly realized that after the height of the pandemic, like, the pandemic was your time to strike. If you were going to get into flipping, the pandemic and pretty much everything before the pandemic was your time to seize the opportunity, to seize the hype around video games, to take full advantage and really go for it, go all out. And I think that if you miss that window, it's going to be a lot harder, I think, in some cases, for folks to really dive into it and do it at a level where they can actually sustain themselves, where they can actually feed themselves, feed their families, pay bills like a mortgage, pay bills like a car note, actually sustain themselves from flipping. And I don't really see that happening at that scale. Now, a lot of people are going to hate me when I make this comment, so please don't hate me when I make this comment. But in order for you to really be able to, I think, sustain yourself in that way, you'd have to really do it at a Phoenix resale level. And I hate to say that, because I know how much so many people don't like that guy. I don't have a problem with Phoenix resale. I understand for him it's about business, it's about money. I don't think he completely dislikes games. I do think there's a part of him that appreciates video games and he plays them. He probably played them growing up. But when you're older, when you're married, when you've got bills, when you've got responsibilities, when you've got a family, you have like a fiduciary obligation to yourself to take care of yourself and, support yourself. And so in his case, that's probably what's going to come first before any love of video games or anything like that. And just going back to this key character, this key YouTuber that I just saw, or I just, found, he talks about how, he had hit a place of really being stagnant in his business where it wasn't really growing. And where he kind of felt like, he wasn't sure if the business was for him, and I don't know if he necessarily said that the business was, whether he felt like it was for him or not, but he definitely expressed being in a place of just being stagnant. And I think, for him, I think he's probably in his 30s. He mentioned being in his 30s. And I think depending on how old you are, you have to really start to ask yourself, are you in a position in life to do certain things? And I think no matter which position you take, whether you're a casual collector, a diehard collector, or a reseller, or a full-time flipper, you kind of have to look at where you're at, your position in life, and say, okay, does my position in life allow me to do any of these? Or does it even allow me to do some of these, whether it be casually collecting, flipping? Now, if you're younger, you don't have a job that takes up a lot of your time, you don't have a lot of responsibilities, flipping might actually be something that you can do because you have the extra time. You can put in the sweat equity to build a flipping business without dealing with the pressures of bills, responsibilities, so on and so forth. You have that wiggle room. You have that freedom to do so. But if you're in a position where, you're supporting yourself and you have, a lot of responsibilities, you got a family to take care of, you may not have that same flexibility to do that. And I think that, in this year, as we move through the year, I think more and more folks are going to start having to come to terms with that and really kind of ask themselves, okay, am I in a position to where I can realistically do certain things, whether it be flipping, whether it be collecting. Now, you may not have an amazing job. You may not have a lot of disposable income, but as a casual collector, yeah, maybe you can stroll into GameStop once a month and pick up a game. Or maybe you can cruise on eBay, once a month and buy one of those games that you've always had on your wish list. It just depends on you. But in my opinion, I think that the most important thing, no matter which position you're in, is really going to be your mindset. And keeping your priorities in order. For me, I think being able to flip games is fun. It's not something that requires a lot of time because I do most of my selling online. I typically don't do I'm out of the driving to game stores and doing, selling large quantities of games. I did a lot of that in 2020, 2021, 2022, and even in 2023. But since 2024 has started, I think I did my last major sell-off in the beginning of the year, and that was when I picked up Last Resort. And I don't think that that's something that I'm really going to be doing because I'm more of in a place where I have transitioned into casual collecting, but for hardcore games. And when I say hardcore games, it's games that I don't think most casual collectors will be out there looking for, because most casual collectors are buying more recent games, more modern games. They're not looking for like exclusive titles or maybe some rare Nintendo game. I do have a wish list that I'm going to be sharing with you all with the video that I put out this weekend. I'm so glad that this is an extended weekend, so I have some time to really put in and make a video. What you're looking at here is my sell box. These are the games that I'm starting my collection, these are the games that I'm using to help start the fund. I already have roughly around $200 in the fund for the collecting challenge that I'm going to be launching. So all these sales will be added to that fund. And I'm using 3 different methods to build up that fund to be able to purchase those rare games. The goal of the challenge is to collect 1 very rare and very expensive game per month. The challenge does include 3 side quests, so that'll be fun. Because I want to keep it fun, and I don't want to just limit myself to only being able to buy those 9 rare and expensive games, because I'm only going to be doing that for the rest of this year. We've only got 9 months in the year, so that's 9 games being added. I do have some substitute games on the wish list, which I'll share with you as well. And I'm going to make it fun, right? It's going to be something that I'll use to kind of make fun. I'm going to engage my daughter in it, so I'll have her help me along the way. It'll be fun, and I'll take you along for the ride. But overall, no matter which mindset you take, whether you are the casual collector, whether you are the diehard collector, or whether you are the flipper, whether it's something that you're, flipping is what you do, it all boils down to mindset, and it has to be fun. If it's not fun, don't do it. If you're not having a fun time, stop doing it. If it's making you feel bad, if it's making you feel you know, down or like you're not making progress, don't do it. It should be something that's fun. It should be something that you're passionate about. It should be something, and that's anything, right? That's not just like video games or flipping or collecting. That's anything you do. We engage in this hobby of retro video games because it's fun. We enjoy it. We enjoy playing the games. We enjoy seeing the books. We enjoy opening up that cartridge or that clamshell case from 30 years ago and smelling the pages and remembering, man, this is what the pages used to smell like 30 years ago or 20 years ago, depending on how old you are, right? Like, it all depends on how old you are. But that's why we do it. We do it because of the feeling of nostalgia that it gives us, the place that it takes us back to mentally and emotionally when times were easier, when things weren't as political and things weren't as, when everyone wasn't walking on eggshells and everyone wasn't connected every second of every hour of every day through social media, when people were actually able to enjoy the presence of other people and things just felt slower. Time just felt slower. Days felt longer. Years felt longer. Life just felt different. And I might be making myself sound old, and I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here, but a lot of those factors is what does it for me. And I think it's the same thing that does it for a lot of folks. And that's why for me, I'm concentrating my collection backwards. I love the Switch. I love the PlayStation 4. I actually got some last minute pickups. I may do a last minute pickups video either tomorrow or Saturday. I'm not sure. But I love the new stuff, but the old stuff, man, is what gets me at the heart. And I think that's really what it's about. So it's about mindset. And remember, if it's not fun, if you're not enjoying it, don't do it.